And we have to remember that we already made a commitment at the Paris Accord in 2015, where nations around the world committed to reducing global temperature for 2 degrees. And we still haven't reached its goal till today. And we have to admit that there wasn't even significant change to the global average temperature, as we can see today. Because of the global warming, we are experiencing our warmest winters to ever have, even though it is freezing cold outside. We are experiencing our coldest summers to ever have, even though it is sweltering hot outside. Our second team member, Chingung, will elaborate for our points furtherly. In conclusion, the opposition team urges the House to disagree with the statement that the government should transition to 100% renewable energy sources by 2030. We must have realistic deadline and gradual solutions, or else we will lose our world, the one and only place where we all live. Remember, it's not global warming anymore. It is global boiling right now we are experiencing. Therefore, I stand proud as the member of the opposition team. Thank you all.
Good afternoon, honorable judges and fellow debaters and our supporters. Today, we are debating under the motion, this House believes that government should commit to transition to 100% renewable energy sources by 2030. Our team strongly believes to this, strongly agree to this motion. Firstly, I'll expand on our existing two arguments, and then introduce one more argument, and lastly, I will provide some negation for the other team. Our first argument was environmental benefit. Transitioning to 100% renewable energy promotes a cleaner environment by reducing carbon dioxide emission and mitigating climate change. Energy sector is responsible for a huge part of the climate change. The main reason why we have climate change is because we burn fossil fuels to have energy. The carbon dioxide, the fossil fuel, is the main reason for our climate change. If we eliminate coal burning, fossil burning, we will solve a huge part of the reason why we have climate change. Moving on to my second point, it is job creation. The renewable energy sector can generate substantial employment opportunities, fostering economic growth. As our first speaker has mentioned, according to the International Energy Agency, the transition towards net zero emissions will lead to an overall increase in energy sector jobs. And our third argument is energy independence. Relying on domestic renewable sources reduces vulnerability to geopolitical tensions related to fossil fuel supplies. For example, Mongolia. We are dependent on Russia, our neighbor, for our energy. But starting this winter, the Russians are only supplying only half of the energy that they used to supply us. We are facing problems. We are facing, like, how do we keep our normal life when Russia has stopped supplying half of the energy that they used to supply? The last development we did in the energy sector was 40 years ago. It is time to do something to solve this climate change and also develop our energy section. Now I will provide some negations. The opposition team has said that it is unrealistic. It is too short time. It is only 6 years. No, we can make it work if we try hard. Nothing will work out if we don't try really hard, right? Like, even if we try, we will make it happen. For example, last year I lost this tournament during the second round, but I worked hard and I'm competing for the championship because I worked hard. And the opposition team has also said that we need gradual solution. No, the climate change is a big problem. We have already started facing the worst consequences of climate change. Like, for example, this summer we have experienced several floods due to the climate change and heavy rains. And we have lost one infant 10-month-old baby, and so many people who live in Gir district has lost their houses. So we really need to do actions as soon as possible to fight climate change. In conclusion, our team believes that this House, the government should commit to transitioning to 100% renewable energy sources by 2030. Thank you for your attention.
This is the second member of side opposition speaking. Now, we have heard many fine points from side proposition, but we respectfully disagree. In my speech, I will be elaborating more on our first member, and I will be rebutting some of the points made by side proposition. Now, without further ado, they mentioned that we need urgency, that we need to be fast with our action. We do agree that we need a solution, but that doesn't mean we can be brash. What we need right now is a smart goal, a smart solution. What do we mean by that? We need to be specific, we need to be measurable, we need the goal to be achievable, realistic, and time-oriented. A smart goal is what we need, not something brash like side proposition is telling us to. Side proposition's first speaker mentioned that our technology has matured and that we can achieve this, that it is realistic. But let's be real here, it is not. It still costs more. Electric cars and many other green technologies still cost more than some of the technologies that we have today that are not green. It is a simple truth. And because they have more cost, there is less demand for it. We need to use simple economic theory for this to understand that it is not mature enough yet. And well, if we're going to achieve this in just 6 years, if we're going to phase out carbon-based technology, if we're going to achieve 100% renewable energy in 6 years, then that means we have to get rid of most of our technology, like cars, for example. Cars use combustion engines. If we're going to achieve 100% renewable energy, then we're going to get rid of cars in 6 years, and I don't think that's possible. Now, they also posited that new jobs will be created by investing in green technology and green industries. But millions more jobs will be lost if we get rid of oil and gas sectors. If we shut down these industries, then millions more jobs will be lost than created in the green industry. What's going to happen to those people? They're going to have no income. They will not be able to sustain themselves in their household. This simply creates another problem that we have to address. The first member of side proposition also mentioned that we can have innovation by ambition, that great things are achieved by being ambitious. But this is not ambitious. This is simply being brash. Our first member mentioned the Paris Agreement. It's been 8 years since the Paris Agreement, and we couldn't even decrease the global average temperature by 2% in 8 years. So how are we going to solve climate change and achieve 100% renewable energy in 6 years? Now that is my rebuttal. On to my arguments. Our first member has given the first 2 arguments. Now I will be giving the other 2 arguments. Our third argument is that simple rationality of countries will get in the way. Countries have different priorities. Some countries prioritize decreasing crime. Some countries are hungry. Some countries have bigger issues to deal with in their society. For example, let's say Cambodia or some sort of developing country. They're going to have to care more about economic development than sustainable energy. Because of that, simple priority and rationality of governments does not enable them to focus fully on renewable energy. And moreover, big countries will not cooperate. If the USA all of a sudden drops their industries that use oil and gas, and all of a sudden starts investing into renewable energy, then China will dominate them. We need something gradual. And as such, I stand proud on the side of team opposition. Thank you.
Good afternoon, fellow debaters and judges. My name is Shura, and I'm the third speaker of the proposition team. Today, I'll not only rebut the other team's arguments, but I'll also reinforce the points that my past teammates have made. Before I start my rebuttal, I want to talk about the key points that my teammates have made. Our first speaker has stated that solar, wind, hydro, and other clean energy sources are not just options. They are the solution. And if governments come together to transition to 100% renewable energy sources, it's not only reducing CO2 and carbon emissions, but also benefiting the economy and job growth. Thus, bringing me to our second argument. Switching to renewable energy provides newer and environmentally friendly jobs. As our first speaker stated, an estimated 14 million new jobs will be created in clean energy sources, resulting in a net gain of 9 million jobs. They tried to rebut this by saying that millions will lose their jobs. But let's take coal miners, for example. If they lose their jobs, they can work at sun and wind energy resources and sun and energy sources. Thus, like that, they can find new jobs. Our second speaker brought out the fact that dependence on domestic renewable sources helps minimize vulnerability to geopolitical tensions linked to fossil fuel supply disruptions. Now I want to begin my rebuttal. The opposition team first speaker has stated that too much change, that if we try to transition to 100% renewable energy resources by 2030, there will be too much change and the economy will crash. Well, as I have said, that is not possible because there will be new jobs, thus it will help the economy too. And they have also said that we should make gradual solutions, that we should bring out gradual solutions. Well, this is unrealistic because our forests are in flames. Our brothers and sisters are in a world where they don't feel safe going out due to air pollution. That's why we need to take action immediately. That's why we support governments committing to 100% renewable energy resources. The second speaker has stated that renewable energy sources are expensive. But in comparison to the fossil fuel industry, which in 2022, about $7 trillion was spent on subsidizing the fossil fuel industry. If we compare that, in comparison, about $4 trillion a year needs to be invested in renewable energy until 2030, including investments in technology and infrastructure to allow us to reach net zero emissions. The transition to clean energy is happening worldwide, and it's unstoppable. It's not a question of if, it's just a matter of how soon. And the sooner, the better for all of us. That's why this House believes that governments should commit to transitioning to 100% renewable energy sources by 2030. Thank you.
In 3, Ladies and gentlemen, I, Deutsche Schule of Ulaanbaatar, am grateful to be standing in front of you today as a third speaker of Team Opposition. Firstly, the other team throughout this debate has made many good logical arguments. However, we feel that some of their arguments have been, and their opposition to our arguments may have been misrepresented and misconstrued. I will now oppose some of their arguments and then reiterate, emphasize, and elaborate on some of our own. First of all, they mention if we stop coal burning. Not only is this wishful thinking, those in our Gir district, our yurt districts, they cannot simply stop coal burning. They rely on this heating as their main source of heating. They cannot simply go to another source of heating because of their impoverished, poor state. Second of all, they also mention if we try, we can make it happen. This is again also wishful thinking. Climate change in our world is an inevitability. In such dire situations, we need realism. We need realistic solutions. Well, now that I have rebutted some of their arguments, I will now elaborate and emphasize some of our own. Firstly, some underdeveloped countries that are heavily reliant on fossil fuels, that are heavily reliant on unrenewable sectors of energy, simply cannot phase into new renewable energy. Again, our example with Mongolia. Most of Mongolian employees, most of them are employed in the mining sector. If we phase into new renewable energy, what will happen to these employees? Unemployment. Unemployment is definitely a consequence. Secondly, our second point is of geographical inability. Every single country is different. Every single country, their geography is different. While some countries, such as Iceland, such as Finland, have geothermal sources that they can use for renewable energy, we do not. Countries such as Mongolia, who are landlocked, cannot phase into 100% renewable energy. This is simply too unrealistic. Now, thirdly, these unforeseen policies have never before been phased successfully. Again, like our previous members have stated, the Paris Agreement. Phasing these whole entire industries so quickly, so rapidly, will have dire consequences. The costs of retraining these people are dire. The renewable energy sector is almost completely different from the unrenewable sector. Thus, training all of these people will take so much time, so much cost, so many funds that we cannot support. Most of these countries, such as our country, cannot support retraining all of these people so quickly in just 6 years. We must remember this crucial fact. We want our change to be gradual. We want our change to involve investment in new technology, investment in new systems gradually. Without this, we risk real dire consequences on not just our own employees, but our people, our society, because the risks are real. We must navigate this crisis with caution, with wisdom, because we have no time left. Thank you. I am proud to stand with Team Opposition.
Now, throughout this debate, both sides have given decent points, but we feel as if our points were stronger and more effective, and our rebuttals were also more effective than side propositions. Here's why. Their solution, which is in the time frame of six years, is too brash and unrealistic. We mentioned that it's not a smart thing to do. We also asked them the specific method by which they would achieve their plan in 6 years, and they were unable to respond to that. But we did. Our third and first speaker gave the point that we will gradually shift towards renewable energy, that we won't be brash, that we will be smart about it. How are we going to be gradual? We mentioned that we can slowly increase the task on especially polluting firms. We can slowly build up the cooperation and agreement between countries so that rivalry will not get in the way. We can slowly wait and invest in green technology until they're cheaper and more effective. We're the side that's realistic here. They are not. They're the side that's wishful. They're the side that's brash. They were unable to effectively rebut our argument. They were unable to rebut the argument that unemployment will be more than the jobs created. We gave a reason for that. They were unable to counter our argument of game theory, that countries with less resources, especially those that are still developing, cannot shift towards renewable energy. I mean, take the example of Mongolia. We cannot just start using green energy because we don't have the infrastructure for it. That infrastructure will take several decades to build, and we can't exactly use nuclear energy or wind energy because, well, our nature, our environment is not suited for that. And as such, we believe that our solution is greater and more efficient, our rebuttals were stronger and more effective, and our main arguments were not effectively addressed by side proposition. I stand proud as side opposition. Thank you.
We believe our today's debates crashes were that the opposition team has been telling us that we are unrealistic, we are wishful, that we don't need to rush. And the next clash was that the millions of jobs will be lost. And the last clash was it will cost more. And to rebut their no need to rush, we need real solution. It is a true fact that renewable energy will work out. We need to rush. The earth won't wait for us to do actions for the climate change. So neither will we. And they have said that renewable energy will cost more, but here comes unity, the global cooperation. The whole world needs to do action together to combat this global problem. It is not just one individual country's problem. It is global problem. The governments, the organizations can help each other to develop renewable energy. And the last crash was that millions of jobs will be lost. These people who lost their jobs can find new work in renewable energy section. We are not asking teachers to be like singers. It is not a totally different professions. These people have worked in energy sector before. It is not totally different professions. So, I, as a young individual, want to live in a world where we don't have to worry about whether or not our world will be in a livable state or not. I don't want to worry about my young brother and sisters who are frequently getting sick because of poor air pollution quality. In order to solve this global climate change problem, we need to start taking actions as soon as possible, immediately. The train has already left the station. The train will not come back. So thank you for your attention.
All of you have a very good speaking ability, and you have like almost, I feel like, found your style, the speaking style, and also you have very sharp and like critical thinking skills. But the thing is that it's not that really like efficient to only focus on this topic. Like, when you're debating on a topic and like building a statement, you have to incorporate with your own thoughts and like let it down in your own life, and you have to incorporate the elements on that is based on the reality first. Because like if we think that for the opposition team, a little advice would be that so current condition on like globally is that we have just suffered from the pandemic and recovered, and our economic and like is very fragile. It's very vulnerable, and at this station, all of the countries are trying to build back their previous norms back. And so, how they are going to focus on like prioritizing their needs, like to fighting off against climate change, because like we should achieve net percentage of 100% in renewable energy. So would the countries, like governments would be able to do that? Not being able to, but like would they dare to like suggest this kind of like ideas to their people? Because the governments, they have a responsibility to fulfill what the people are like, their needs are. So that's the point. But I would say that it is a very good match, and also for the proposition team, actually, for the first speaker, I wouldn't say that it was a very good joke, but like I liked your attempt, like try to make things more lighter and like more delicate. Also, I would like to commend the proposition team's second member. The reason is that you are like mentioning about the examples around your life, like all of us know. So that is a very good point. And also the proposition team's energy independence idea is really good. I don't know like how you like came up with that idea, but that is very like good element that like should have mentioned in this debate match. So it is really good. And also opposition team's first speaker, you have a really good spirit that encourages people, that motivates people. So I'd like to commend your speaking ability, and also the both teams, the second and third members. All of you have really good sense of where to strike, where to find their like weak points, and so where to use the leverage to come back again. So that is a very impressive. And the opposition team third member, I would like to say that I understand that you're nervous. I understand, but the thing is that your content, the overall content is very decent, because like the coal miners and minimizing independence, and also you are the like only speaker like who done like very good comparison, because like actually like every year we are spending $7 trillion to reduce the side effects from the coal and like the current coal and oil fossil fuel industry. But if we try to shift into the renewable energy resources, it's going to require annually just $4 trillion, far less. So that's a very good comparison. So I would like to commend all of you. It was a really great match. And whoever becomes the champion, and you have a like way like more road that you guys should drive for. So not only in Mongolia, but you guys can like spar in the global competitions. So I wish all of you a bright future.
Thank you so much for your presentation for both teams. I guess each of you, I don't want to comment so much of each of you, but I guess some part that I want to comment on. I guess proposition one presenter. I guess the speaking style was a little fast. Okay. Anyways, and also when you're speaking to front of public, I think I mentioned the previous session as well. It is very important to have eye contact with the audience. I think it is very important rather than you just look at the your scripts. And sometimes that's why when you are doing public speaking, you need very much professional, very persuasive skills. I think it is very important. And also for the opposition one, you did a good job, but somehow I guess you're so confident enough to speak very loud. But anyways, you speak a little fast, but it was okay. It was easy to understand. It was very powerful somehow, but anyway, that was very good also. And from the proposition two, I think you have a very good presentation skills. and also good eye contact with the audiences, which were very nice. And you mentioned about the renewable energy, 100% renewable energy by 2030. It also creates a job creation and foster economy growth, and etc. But I didn't see much of the reasoning behind. So I don't see much of the data or support arguments on those. So that was a little something that maybe you can think about it as well. And opposition two, I think you speak very well, very confident, and very good eye contact. I think we have a very good way of presenting, and very persuasive attitude, you know, when you speak. So I thought it was very nice. And you did mention very well about the, I think your arguments were very clear, you know, about the opposite, which is the proposition side of the opinions as well. And for the proposition 3, you had a very good attitude and the eye contact with the audience as well. It was very nice. And but you mentioned about the presentation. You said there's a new jobs creation, etc. But I was thinking how, you know, what kind of ground you are speaking on those can be a sort of a solution, something I had to think about a little bit. Maybe I misunderstood a little bit, but anyways, that part. And also position 3, also very good presentation skills, very confident in speaking as well. And you discussed about the unemployment issues, and that was very good. And also geographic examples. I think giving us the example is a very good idea, especially we're talking about Mongolia situations. I think that was a very good way of presenting your ideas. And for the final, opposite and the proposition side, I think both you guys did a wonderful job, but opposite side, 6 years is unrealistic, or maybe true, right? Gradual shift, renewable energy, I think is very important also. I think it all depends on the geographical bound, you know, where you are, also very important. But as a conclusion, I think global cooperation is very important, you know, I think suggested by the proposition side. I think having a renewable energy is very important for our future for sure. You know, it's not about how long you will take. Of course, it's faster the better. But of course, if you go too fast, maybe there's some side effect as well too. So I guess we have to come up with a very good solution for the future, especially for next generation. Thank you so much for all your presentation. Thank you guys.
Okay, I would also just like to commend you all in a very spirited debate. It was really interesting to listen to, and you all did a great job, so congratulations to all of you. I think I don't have much to add on top of what everyone else said. I think this time both teams used examples and personalized things in a way that was really useful. For example, saying that you know, families living in the Ger district would have a hard time to switch from coal. I think that was good to bring it home, but the other side also had really good examples as well from the jobs, you know, switching jobs from teaching to whatever versus staying in the energy sector. And there were many other great examples that the second speaker from the proposition side used. So I think using those kind of examples to bring things home and to connect to people is really powerful in the debates. I think, you know, for me, some of the points were confusing. Actually, you got a lot of applause, the opposition first speaker, but actually I thought you contradicted yourself, actually, and so I was a bit confused personally in the opening statement when you said, you know, that about when you were talking about the Paris Agreement and stuff like that, it was a little bit muddled and it didn't come across clearly to me. And I think, you know, for me, I'm also working on climate change, so I have my own biases. But the proposition side, for example, they sourced their data on job creation, and I think if you would have had some source to counter your argument that there would be more job losses or more economic losses, I think that would have strengthened your argument on your side. I also think, I mean, just in terms overall, other points that both sides could have made, maybe, you know, Mongolia is a major exporter of minerals, right? These minerals are also used in clean technology, right? So that could have been a counter to your argument, right? That actually it's a great economic opportunity for Mongolia to build on the resources that you have in terms of minerals to, you know, to grow and take advantage of this change globally. I also thought your team on the proposition side could have used more evidence about the progress the Paris Agreement has made. They criticized the Paris Agreement, and actually, although it's flawed, it has driven a lot of change and growth and action, so I think it could have also added to that argument. I mean, I'm focusing on the content here, that's what they asked me to do, but I think overall you did a good job. I think it was good to characterize them as brash. You had this fight between being brash and unrealistic and being optimistic and positive, and that's kind of how you pinned yourselves against each other. And maybe, you know, if we're older and realistic versus youthful and positive, I mean, it's a good dynamic for a debate, so thank you.